Hi everybody. Today, due to popular demand, there's me, two vehicles and a tape measure. So we're going to take some measurements, have a look at the different sizes. So we're going to have a look at the T7 behind me. We're going to go and grab a T6.1 Ocean. And we're going to have a look at things like, for example, the bed size downstairs, the bed size upstairs. We're going to have a look at floor space that's in there, head height, all those things. And we'll find out exactly how many millimetres there are difference between the two. So let's get into it. First one, nice and easy, downstairs bed. So we've got 108.5 centimetres. So let's have a look at the boot space. So we put the tape measure right down into the bottom, 89, and that's exactly 90 centimetres. 36 centimetres. 107, 43 is 77 centimetres. 90 centimetres. And 210 long. 65 approximately, 110 centimetres. So now we've jumped onto a T6.1 Ocean, so we're going to have a look at that. Across the bottom we have a 102, 74 and a half, 36. Comfort mattress, I'm going to go about 55. 196, we're on the middle, all the way to here, and we have got 126. I'm only measuring this gap on here because I know we have got a little bit at the top end there, but you're not really going to put anything in there other than the bin, so we'll just ignore that one for a minute. 128. Right, results time. Let's have a look. So I've calculated these all out and I've written down on a piece of paper so I can kind of go through them and show you what the differences actually are on a tape measure that's on here. So let's talk about the downstairs bed to start with. It's on here. So on the 6.1 compared to the T7, we are looking at a difference of 8 centimetres in width. So that's from there to there. So that's 8 centimetres difference in the overall width. But the T7 is actually longer by 3 centimetres. So the difference in length between the two beds is there. So that's the difference in our width, but our length is 3 centimetres. So pretty much hardly anything in it, to be perfectly honest, between those two. They're give or take, one's longer, but we know the T7 is a longer vehicle than the T6.1, and obviously it is slightly not as wide, but that's, you can see it from in there. But as I said, that's the difference, 8 centimetres compared to the longer of the 3.1. So let's talk about the upstairs bed. Now the upstairs bed, this was quite interesting actually. So the T7 is 7 centimetres longer, and the 6.1 is 9 centimetres wider. However, that 9 centimetres is a little bit of an illusion from in there as well, is because the mattress size on the 6.1 is 116 centimetres wide. And the width on the mattress up here is about 115 centimetres, because the gap in between at the end of the mattress, actually there's a lot bigger gap on the 6.1 compared to the T7. So in reality, that gap isn't as much. So again, we've got a longer bed at 7, but we've got a wider on the older version at 9. So again, they're pretty much going to cancel each other out as far as volume space is concerned. Okay, so as far as the floor is concerned, a little bit more difficult on this one, the T7, because we've got this big cutout area here which we have to take into consideration. So anyway, after a lot of number crunching and looking at metre squared, we have come to the conclusion that, and I hope this is right, sounds about right, but the difference is, so the T7 is 6 centimetres squared less than the 6.1. So that is 6 via 6. So this little box here is the difference between a T7 and a T6.1. Last area to look at is the space in the boot. And one thing to start with, which makes it nice and easy, is the height from here on the T7 and the T6.1 is exactly the same. Both exactly the same at 36 centimetres. So that has not changed at all between the two. What has changed obviously is, and you will notice this as we're talking, all these measurements are different. This is a long vehicle, so all the dimensions are longer. So it is deeper. The boot is deeper than the T6.1, and it is deeper by a huge 16 centimetres. So that's how much deeper this boot is compared to the 6.1. But the 6.1 is 8 centimetres wider, so down here. Now from reports I've had and been speaking to other people as well, is that does sound about right, because it sounds like this has actually got a bit more space actually in the T7 in here because of that extra length which is actually in the side of it, and this cabinet doesn't stick out quite as far as it does on the T6.1. So in the boot space in the bottom of here, you've got more space. Now looking at the top space that's in here, obviously that's slightly different. So this height, 6.1's got a lot more height that's in here, the difference between here and here. Width-wise on the two, the T7 is 5 centimetres wider. So again, not a big amount of difference there, but 5 centimetres wider, and it is 3 centimetres deeper, so a little bit deeper that's in that. And the reason for that is because this cabinet isn't sticking out anywhere near as far as it would do on the T6.1 because it was quite a bit wider. Now the big difference though, obviously is in height, so if you fill it all the way to the top, you are going to notice a difference in there because the height difference is 12 centimetres approximately, so it's in that bit there. Now it's worth pointing out at this point very, very clearly that this is me and Tim with a tape measure and a calculator going around this. So this is not scientific in any way, shape or form. It's more just to give an indication to what the differences are between the 6.1 and the 7 as far as actual measurements and sizes are concerned. And you've probably guessed it, the conclusion is this vehicle's a bit longer than the 6.1, hence you get a bit more room in this way. But that offsets the little bit that you lose this way between the two. But as you'll see from the bed sizes, there's very little in it at all, whether it's downstairs or upstairs, and those are the important things as far as I'm concerned, because it's how much room I've actually got that's in there as well. And the differences are very, very small, and in car terms they always are very, very small. So as a note, do remember me, Tim, tape measure, calculator. So this isn't gospel. Have a look in the brochure if you want to go the exact figures that's in there, but it gives you a good indication. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, having a look at this. Lots of facts and figures. We've enjoyed ourselves get the tape measure out and seeing where the differences are that's in there as well. As always, if you have enjoyed, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.